Okay, so here's how I'm lifting my 1994 Dodge Intrepid on an Advantage 10,000 pound two-post lift. The 93 shop manual, which I have, implies that you're supposed to lift here, which is the spot for the scissor jack, on each front and rear spot. But looking at 1996-97, which is basically the same car, they tell you not to lift there with the floor jack. So really this is kind of like 4 floor jacks. So I don't like lifting there. So I checked into where other people have suggested, and also the later shop manuals say lift on the subframe, which this is. So I extend my front arms. This one went almost all the way out. I'm slightly farther right than left in the bay, so this one didn't have to go quite all the way. But I put a block of wood underneath these body mount spots, and this metal is definitely thicker than here. So I did those in the front, and at these points in the rear, which the shop manual doesn't talk about, but I don't know what else they would be for. Other people lift there too. So that's what I've done. I've also put axle stands under this piece here with a block of wood, and an axle stand under the subframe at the front, right in front of the oil pan, for extra stability. Maybe it's overkill, but safety's way more important. And looking at this from the bottom, you can see the lift points I've chosen with my Advantage 10,000 pound two-post lift. It's technically a symmetrical lift, but the rear arms are longer than the fronts, and the car is much heavier in the front than the back. So the fact that more of the car is in the back isn't a problem. In fact, when I first lifted it on these spots, it was lifting the whole car with this arm not even touching. So just this side alone was getting it up high enough. That's probably because I didn't do a good job of balancing it, but here we are. So here's the underneath of the 1994 Dodge Intrepid. It's got a 3.3 liter engine, not the 3.5. It's got, it doesn't have ABS. A little disappointing, but I just noticed that it doesn't look like the jam nuts are jammed on the rears. I have to check into that. Another reason I raised the car now rather than later, I was planning to move it over to the 4-post lift to figure out where to figure out these lift points better. But then I dropped a bolt, and it's right in the middle of the crankshaft pulley. That would have been a very bad place to have a bolt, so I'm glad I found it. Another way to look at the way I've got it lifted is to look forward from the back and follow these underbody things, I don't know what you call it, up here, straight, 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 straight. And then this one to this side, and straight along that to lift there. I don't know whether this is the way it's supposed to be done, but it's working, and the manual could have done a much better job of describing this. When I go to take it down, I remove the rear stand first. I don't know if that's the best approach, so if someone thinks it's better to remove the front stand first, then let me know, and let me know why. The two posts are basically in line with the steering wheel. You can see the much longer length for the rears, despite this being a symmetrical lift. 10,000 pound lift with a 3,000 and some pound car shouldn't be a problem. Lining it up with the steering wheel was not intentional. What I did was I had it farther forward, and I realized that I did not have enough length on the front arms to hit those spots, so I guesstimated push it back about a foot, which I did, and then they reached, and this is where it happened to be. Another limitation I had was the length of the arms when short, that they would collide with the tire if the pad was attached, so I had to push it in there before putting the pad on. I didn't have to do that on the other side because it's not precisely centered.